Countdown, fancy countdown.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Directors. I'm your host, Cooper Knowlton, and our guest today is the man behind the Driveway series in Austin, Texas, Chris Tolley. Driveway series is one of the most unique event series in the entire world of endurance sports. Super excited to dig in today, learn more about how you got involved in it, Chris, and just the history of it, and just kind of hear more about your story. But first off, appreciate you carving out the time. Very excited to chat today.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I love talking about the driveway. I don't know, it makes me realize, like, when I get to talk about it, I'm like, "Oh, wow." It's like, I do all this stuff. You kind of forget, when you're just in it, so hyped to be
Totally.
here.
Are you in Austin right now?
I'm in Austin, Texas. Where did I just get back from? Seattle for my other job. But yeah, I'm here. We're having the most statistically mild summer since 2007, so, it's kinda nice. I don't know. I'm digging it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine Texas summers are normally pretty brutal.
Yes. Yeah. But right now, I mean, I have a race that I'm putting on at the driveway on Saturday. It's 90, a high of 90. In the summer, it's like unheard of. So yeah, it's been great for participation too. So, you know,
I love that high of 90 is considered like that's amazing.
mild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We've had
Uh,
we've had a couple. I've hosted an event last summer, 2 summers ago in Southern California. It was a trail race, and I was getting emails. It started at like 7 o'clock at night. It was a nighttime race, and it was like 90 to 93 degrees. And I was getting emails from people being like, "Is it safe to have the race? You cancel it." Um, so it's good to know that 90s is nothing for you guys.
yeah. I mean, it's chill. I will say, like, I mean, this is probably, we'll get into this more later, but like trail running, cycling, it's like you have, speed to cool you down, while like runners are just like, you're pounding the pavement and you're going what, 10 miles. I don't even know how fast runners go, depending on like I guess like what terrain, but at least with riding, it's like you cool down with like the breeze, because you're going like 30 miles an hour. But
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah. We definitely don't have that. This was a trail race, like a 3 mile trail race, basically up a mountain. So you're going like very, very slow and just get really excited.
Yeah, that'd probably maybe be hot, but I don't know, I'd still do it, love suffering. So
So bring us up to speed right now. Driveway series goes for 8, 9 months throughout the year. Where are you? Where are you right now? Kind of in the middle of your 2025 calendar, 2025 season.
yeah, so yeah, driveway starts daylight, basically daylight savings. We go till sometimes into October. 2 or 3 races. I think I'm on race number 20 right now. I actually just added another bonus race though. So yeah, we'll do 28 to 30 races a year, or 26 to 30. And yeah, right now we're in the summer series, which is something I came up with, mainly for me and my mental health, which is like going bi-weekly on Saturdays in the summer and doing it in the mornings versus like our regular Thursday, like, weekly weeknight crit programming. So yeah,
Gotcha.
getting close to the end. It's
Gotcha.
nice.
So maybe taking one step back before we dig in more into kind of what the season looks like. Maybe for the listeners
Yeah.
out there who aren't familiar with the driveway, maybe you can just kind of give us broad strokes what the series is, how long it's been in existence, just kind of a quick 2-minute story of the driveway series.
Yeah, for sure. So Driveway's been around, I guess the property itself, 2003. I think the races started out there in 2004 or 5. And yeah, it's basically like a weeknight bike race. It's been every Thursday. We had a couple races in the pandemic, so technically we haven't stopped. The land, which we can get into, got sold in 2021. I'm in the middle of this like sort of to the city of Austin, big tech company, but we're still going. So that's where I came in. But yeah, weekly bike races. We started like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and yeah, roll daylight savings to October.
So I think part of what makes driveway so unique is the land. You mentioned the land already.
Hmm.
Um, it is a like. Why don't you just explain sort of what this piece of property is and why it enables you to kind of do this very unique thing that obviously doesn't really happen anywhere else in the country?
Anywhere. Yeah. No, dry. It's so it is, I think now 40 acres. It was originally 50, and then I think a little bit got like parceled off. But it's basically on a peninsula. You have the Colorado River on one side, and then you have this Waller Creek on the other. And so what it does is essentially, like, you're on this little peninsula, and it is in a floodplain. So that is why nothing can really be built there. It's also kind of feels like the boonies when you're driving out there, but you're 4.5 miles from downtown, and you're right off of like one of the, like, probably the best bike path in the city, the Walnut Creek. And so, yeah, it just happened to be at this sort of like right place. Nothing can be developed. It's, it was formerly like a car racetrack. And so they built it out there, and they don't care if the asphalt gets flooded once every 10 years. Developers would, not like that. So yeah, it's just sort of like the perfect combination for like bike races to happen. So
Is there anything, is you mentioned the asphalt. Is the asphalt like particularly good for ride
yes.
bikes?
Yeah, it's actually, oddly enough, one of the many. There's like so many little fun facts about the driveway. But it's actually imported from South Dakota. I think it's what a lot of like premier racetracks use. And so it's just like extra grippy. It's become a little less grippy since there's not as many cars like ripping off all the algae that grows, which I'm trying to kill. Um, yeah, but yeah, it's great. For the guy that used to run it was like a Ferrari test driver, and so he had like a car thing out there, and so yeah, it's like designed to be really grippy, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And how big is every race kind of the same loop, or is the track enable you to do kind of different combinations and different types of loops?
Yeah, so there's, I guess, let's think. So we have Grand Prix Loop, which is the full loop. The course is like 1.6, 1.7 miles, depending on if you take the apexes, right? And then you have Championship Loop, which is a little bit shorter, and it's like got some elevation to it. Because there is actually like a 20-foot drop, which when you hit it 40 times, it adds up. And then we have Speed Loop, which is the bottom one. But we can run some of those courses both directions. So, and then we have Shop House Loop, which is something I sort of brought back. I had to get permission to pave a funky corner. So I brought that back. So yeah, I think we have like 7 configurations. So that kind of keeps it interesting. Like there's definitely courses that favor certain riders over others, like, breakaways, summer sprinters courses. So yeah, it keeps it dynamic. I think that's one of the unique things. We can run it, and you can run something 7 different configurations, and there's definitely like people like one or the other. It keeps it interesting.
Totally. So any Thursday night, if you're in Austin throughout the summer, can you basically just show up, or like what's the registration process? What's the kind of night? What's the programming look like? I mean, I assume there's different categories, different types of racing, but
Hmm.
how does it work if someone's in Austin and wants to come out and race? What does that process look like?
Yeah, I would say this is something that like I'm trying to improve on, but it's not really my choice. So driveway, to kind of back up, is it's a USA Cycling sanctioned event. And so I guess similar to like USA Track and Field, same, like it's the governing body. So they get a lot of funding from things like the Olympic Committee and all that sort of stuff. But you have to be like a licensed member. Now there's what you can do is 1-day licenses, which are like $15. All of
Mhm.
this is just like insurance, basically.
Fair.
It's designed to prevent people from getting sued and liability and all the other infrastructure stuff. So you do have to have a license. You can't get a 1-day license. But yeah, those are like annual memberships. And you start off in cycling. There's 5 categories. I think there's one too many these days, but you start off at a 5, and then you go all the way down to a 1. Cat 1 is the same as like a professional. Not the same. I would say it's like you're a Cat 1, and then like, but you can, your races are pretty much like, you can race with the pros. Like the Tour de France guys will come out once in a while, and they race in that same category, which is comical. But yeah, so we'll do multiple different categories. We'll do age-based as well. So there's like a master's race above 40, 4-5, so beginner category, 3-4 intermediate, women's race, selective parts of the year. It's more like an open, all sort of, skill ranges in that one. And then the Pro 123, which is the biggest one. That's sort of like the final race of the night. So yeah, I mean, I try and squeeze as many as I can in. I'm really just bound by the constraints of like daylight.
Totally.
And so yeah, it's like the work week too. It's like I thought 4 o'clock when I first started this. Like I was like, people come out 4 o'clock. No, it was definitely too early for a lot of people. So pretty much like 4:45 to like 8-ish
Yeah.
is when we run it.
It is. I mean, running has all sorts of problems with it, and the world of kind of long distance running,
Yeah.
in field in particular. I think there's all sorts of issues with what it looks like on the pro side, but I think the barrier to entry is like really low for the most part, right? Like anyone sees like a 5K, you see the poster for the 5K, you know exactly what it is, and like even as someone who's like plugged into the distance world, I wonder if like that what you're describing. Like I literally saw a poster. There's a crit race. I'm in Claremont, California, and in Glendora,
Hmm.
California, like
Oh
next
yeah.
week, couple weeks, there's like a big crit race. And I saw the poster and it was like exactly what you described, Cat 2, Cat 3, Cat 4. And it's like, as someone who's not in that world, it's like, what the hell am I looking at? Can I sign?
Yeah.
Can I race this? Like, I do think that's something that the cycling world, it's a little bit, I mean, obviously there are cycling races where it's like a 50-mile cycle
Open.
race, like whatever, open, but that
Yeah.
thing, like that format is so, I've been to some crit races and they're fucking incredible to watch, but
Yeah. Oh, it's
the
insane.
industry is hard, and if you like want to get involved or want to start racing in that world, it is a little trickier.
Yeah, and that's honestly one of the things. I don't know, like I mean, there's outside of like promoting like an actual like the day to day, like my thing is like, how do I get more people to do this? Because like I'm not near like, it's like I could have 100 people in each crit race, which obviously is like very good for the business. But the thing is like, how do you knock down some of those barriers of like, and like getting people who ride a bike to like try bike racing? Because it's difficult, and I'm trying to work with USA Cycling on that sort of thing because the funnel is like the same. It's just like it's very small at the top. Like you should be, in my eyes, like there should be no license fees for the Cat 5s. Like you should just be able to walk up to a race and like do it, and like because then like you try it out, and that's all it is. Like the first hit's free. And that's how it was with me. So and I didn't know anything about this. I had to have someone like sort of usher me through that whole process of like, wow, it's like you're fast on a bike, like come race. And I'm like, what's a race? Like what is all this stuff? And there's so many hoops you have to jump through just to do something that I'm paying for. And I'm just like, why? So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a problem. I mean, we're seeing lower numbers across the board. Like in terms of like registration at like a national level. Driveway is doing great, but like nationally, I think it's you have like gravel, which I guess is like more on the trail side of things, and that's just like you just show up. You don't
Right.
no, there's no governing body. No one gives a shit. Like you're just like going. You go a distance. I'll race with like, I mean, I think it's funny. It's like if there's like one 60-mile gravel race, like I start with the guy that's like never ridden a bike before.
Right. Yeah.
And that has a whole host of problems. I mean, I've entered plenty of gravel races where like you start and then it's just chaos. Someone crashes out like everybody. So there's good things, bad things about it, but yeah, so we're struggling to get like new people in the door.
Yeah. So who is coming out to these events? Are people? Do you have people coming in for the average driveway race? Are there people traveling from across the country, or is it
Oh yeah.
the hyper local thing?
I mean, it's definitely predominantly like local. I would say I think it's like 85% are within like 40 miles or something like that. And but
Mhm.
that's like every week. We do get people like that will it's like a special occasion and then they'll like drive in. They'll drive like a couple hours or something like that. The Saturday races that I started doing definitely gets like a broader reach of people. And I wanted to do that too to kind of like unite the community of bike racers in Texas so they could all kind of race against each other, which doesn't happen that often. So yeah, but then I'll do like national level events on like a weekend, and that gets like people from everywhere. Like I did a time trial out there for the juniors, and we have like the top, like some of these kids are like signed 5-year world tour contracts now, and they've
Mhm.
like raced out there. So we get the whole spectrum of people. But yeah, I would say predominantly local.
Yeah. where does crit racing? You sort of talked a little bit about this, but where does like this type of crit racing fit into the broader ecosystem of the world of cycling? Like, is it gravel racing? I feel like is having a moment right now and getting a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
attention. But is crit racing like kind of like a niche little world, or is it like
Yes.
it is?
Yeah, it's like a weird, like, sort of, I don't know. I would say it's uniquely American, in the same sense of like maybe like NASCAR is, which I like sort of steal all their branding. But there are crits in like other countries. It's in like Germany, for instance. There's like New Zealand, and there's like places where there's like little hot spots, but it is largely like an American thing. And I think I mean, I don't know. There's plenty of reasons I think why that is, but yeah, so it's just sort of like an American thing. You'll get some World Tour riders that come in periodically. And there'll be like stages of like the Tour de France that sort of mimic a
Mhm.
crit. Like at the end, like at least the former Tour de France race, the final stage was like a circuit race, and it's just like a
Yeah.
bunch of loops. And so that's like the closest thing to a crit that they'll do over there. But yeah, Germany seems to dig it, so it's having its moment over there.
We chatted. I chatted early on with David Tremble, who used to do
He's
the
the man.
yeah, incredible. I don't know if you follow the world of running at all, but he hasn't done a lot in kind of the New York area or the U.S. for a while, and he just did a. Do you know the brand Bandit?
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
this
I follow him. I'm like he's the reason why I got into promoting. I think at
oh
the end
really?
of the day.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah,
He's,
yeah. So yeah, he's great.
he's a legend. He's a legend.
Yeah.
He just put on a super cool kind of crit style running race in
Hmm.
Brooklyn with
Yeah,
Bandit Grand Prix or something like that. And looked fucking incredible. Like
yeah,
they like rented out a warehouse and it started and finished in the warehouse. And then they had like cool little loops. And, but I honestly, like, I think the Red Hook crit was when I was like few years out of college and we're trying to run on a high level in New York City and like going to the Red Hook crit, I think like planted a seed in my head about like putting on
hmm
events. And because it was races like that just didn't exist. It was like
yeah.
the running and the cycling hybrid and the cycling races were like the gnarliest, craziest thing I'd ever
That
seen.
was my
Like,
first bike race.
oh,
Was Red Hook? Yeah, Red Hook crit, pouring rain in like 2014. Oh, I mean it's
oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no, I think honestly, yeah, I mean, and he was switched on to that whole idea of like merging those two like cultures together like back then. Because yeah, when they did like my friends would run in the 5K and then I would race, and like yeah, it sort of brings like two different crowds like together in one place, and so
totally.
definitely
But
contributes to the energy.
totally. But since then, I've always sort of been like, I know crit racing has had its moments, and
Hmm.
but it is always amazing to me that it's not more like doesn't have a larger impact on the world of endurance sports, just because it is like totally unlike anything else, and it has the
Yeah,
element, like you mentioned NASCAR, like it's got the crashes, it's got the drama, it's got everything. It's just I don't know.
yeah. I think yeah. I mean, it can't get that. It gets in its own way a lot of time. I think it's like this is where I mean, I don't know. I could read on this for a while because I see a lot of it now that I'm like really in this world of like, it's my like third or fourth year like promoting stuff. And then you see the hurdles and things around like promoting races, and then like the organizational things that prevent you from doing a lot of stuff. And you're like, wow, it's like there's like a lot of people trying to do something else, but it is like a lot of money. And I don't think they're really run very well, like conceptually. So yeah, I think it's unfortunate because yeah, it's like I love this shit. Like it's so fun. Like, and when they do it like when you go to one and it's like, I mean, I'll take like my BMXer friends and like they'll come watch me race and they're like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, and they're like right there, like on a fence, and there's guys going 40 miles an hour, and then some like lawn dart into a pole. And it's like, it's intense. And there's like live streams. There's like so much stuff. And I'm like, it just hasn't like
Yeah.
been able to go over that, like, I don't know, the next level. But it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I think I know why, but it's tricky. And so I'm hoping that eventually I'll be able to do, enough races and things like that within Texas to sort of bring it up to another level. But we'll see, we're trying.
Is the talent pool going to like the top? I mean, obviously, like the top of the sport is going to like the Tour de France type thing,
Yes.
right? But and now is gravel racing taking away some of the
Yes.
like talent pool that otherwise would be going towards crit racing?
I would say yes. It's interesting because like with the I guess cycling, like most of its talent, you're right, goes to Europe. Like if you want to like make cycling your job, like you go there. It's just there are some races here that you can do and like you do get like this like the race that I helped put on with like the junior time trial, it's like those are like the races where the kids get discovered and then those kids like they got sick to go to Europe for 6 weeks and like go race. They don't race in the US
Right.
because like over there cycling is huge. It's like you watch any stage of like any race and it's like wall to wall with people for like kilometers, and that here nothing like that. So yeah, it's you go there if you want road to be your thing, but now gravel having come into the, space, I guess it got kind of popular like 2018, 2019, and then like, now it's like Lifetime Grand Prix is like killing it. And yeah, I think a lot of we're seeing now like people who got into cycling like and like gravel was their first thing. It's like that's where they're going. Like you can sort of I don't want to say make more money because I don't think like unless you're at the top you're not doing that well, but they see it as like a more like viable path is to like race gravel than like race crits. And so I got into this shit when I was 25. Like I never did this for money. I didn't care. I was like, this is exciting. It's fun. It's like a hobby, but like I've managed to get to a point where I like race against some people that do it for a job, and that's cool. Like I'm happy to be here. But yeah, I think a lot of the talent pool is like, oh, I'll just do gravel. Like they see it as like safer. It's way more hours though. It's like the equivalent
Mhm.
of someone training for like, these like 50-mile like trail runs or something like that. I think is insane. But it's like, yeah, the volume you have to do for that is like drastically different than like the 10 to 12 hours a week for a crit. So
Totally. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you see a
It's
similar thing
interesting.
happening in the world of running. You definitely see the world of like ultra and trail has blown up in the last 5 to 10 years, where now you
Hmm.
do see more and more kids who are coming out of college and they typically would have spent, 5 to 10 years trying to make it on the track and
Hmm.
roads, and now they're going to the trails and immediately going to it used to be like you go to the trails after you finish trying to
Yeah.
marathon scene, you would just continue to go up and up and up, and maybe there'd be like a few handful of these guys who would pop in. But now it's like everything's getting so fast on the trails. People are just,
Yeah, new like FT, what is it, like FKT or whatever, fastest known times on stuff. Like it's like every other week. I
yeah,
mean, I would say we're seeing the same sort of thing with gravel. But do you feel like it's like reached a saturation? Because I like eventually, like Lifetime, for instance, like Grand Prix, which is like the biggest like series, it's like Unbound and like
yeah,
all this stuff. It's like now we're getting like it's like Olympians, like former Olympians or like current, or you have like these like kind of super pros coming in, and you're like, oh, it's like no longer viable for like, this random talent to like win one of these big races. Like because I feel like it is now like, oh, we can make money here, like, and I can choose my own schedule, like it's not as rigid as road, like, you win one race and like your career's like pretty good. So I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know if you're
It's
seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's a funny, these niche sports are funny. Like there's definitely a lot more eyeballs and attention on these big races, like to a level that's never happened. Like Western States happened. Western States 100 is like the biggest California US 100-mile race, and it was, the amount of my Instagram was just like dominated by
Oh yeah.
race for like the couple days leading up, couple days after, which didn't used to be the case. There's still though like the brands are dumping a shit ton of money, like Hoka
Yeah.
and Nike and On, and all these brands are now like investing a ton of money. There's still no like I don't know if the Western States has any prize money if you win it. There's not like a
Yeah.
lot of money if you win these races, but certainly if you win Western States, you're going to get a shoe deal and get an endorsement deal.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's no one's winning Western States out of nowhere. You're already a
Yeah.
sponsored
You're a
athlete.
known quantity, like
Exactly.
coming into it
Yeah.
that's winning. Yeah. And that's the same way like gravel stuff used to be. I mean, you still get some like random, like I always make the joke. It's like like a guy who like flopped out of the world tour can come into like Unbound or something like that. Or like like Domestique or something like that from the World Tour, and they come in and they're like on the podium. And so yeah, I don't know, it's pretty wild. But yeah, like Unbound used to not have prize money, and which is my gripe with all this stuff. Even as a promoter, I'm like, I know how much they're making. Like when you look at, you can see how many people are entering, how much our registration costs. Like some of it's like a couple $1 million in just registration, which is like on the road side of things, like we cap out at like 500 people, like
Mhm.
maximum that we can have. And so, and that, maybe sometimes like a little bit more than that, but like that's sort of the extent. So like registration is like not going to cover like a lot of this stuff. Well, these races, they get thousands of people to go and then they're still not paying out, which I find like hilarious. But what are you going to do?
Yeah. So kind of to piggyback off of that point, tell me a little bit about like, when you are doing an event series that is a little more small and a little more like niche,
Hmm.
registration costs don't necessarily cover everything. Sort of like what is the business model of Driveway?
Yeah, I mean, well, so for driveway, this is unique in the sense that like a lot of my fixed costs of like running an event, at least like at the track, are like relatively low. And I stretch out my costs over 26 to 28 weeks. And so yeah, one day races, this would not be profitable at all. But like
Mhm.
when I could do it over a long period, it's like you can actually like make money, which is, promoters should make money. The amount of time that goes into this stuff. But it's a combination. I would say it's about 50-50 of like sponsorship and registration. Because I always like too, like when I came up, it's like I didn't, I worked at a bike shop when I started racing. Like I didn't have like a good job. And so like I want to keep costs down. Like I don't want to charge $50 for a bike race like every week. And some places do that. I just like don't want to. So I go kind of heavier on the sponsorship side. And I'm like very fortunate, like over the past few years to like have developed some good relationships with, either individual businesses, like, hey, so it's a dentist, it's a lawyer, it's a realtor. There's like a Capital Chevy's like the big sponsor for Driveway. They're like the title sponsor. And so yeah, it's like they cover a lot of those like initial costs. And a Meteor, which is like the coffee wine bar, sort of set up here with a bike shop, clothing company, Castelli. Like so, yeah, you try and get like all the pieces that like the community like engages with. Like it's like where are they going to go get a bike or where they get their teeth cleaned, all that stuff, and you try and you know get all those people to sponsor it. So
It's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
It's
it's neat.
cool. It's especially neat, like the fact that sometimes we do some local events in places, and we have exactly what you described. We have, the local running store and the local dentist and the local
Yeah.
insurance company who sponsor it. But it is sometimes tricky to give those businesses a real ROI when it's just a
Hmm.
one-off day, a one-off event. You pop up, slap their
Yeah.
their logo, but you're in a
Yeah.
unique position where when you can show up for that business 26 weeks of the year, and I can see that dentist name 26 times, like that's just a
Yeah.
reminder, and that's a really unique value prop that you can bring to sponsors.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, what's been helpful for me, like, is prior to like running the driveway, like I raced it like for what was it, 7 years or something like that. And so, and I was like, oh, it's like, how does sponsorship actually work? It's like, well, prior to me taking over, it's like I bought my house from a realtor that sponsored the driveway. I went to the same dentist that still sponsors it. Like I got my roof replaced by like the roofer that sponsored it. And so it's like, that's just like me. And it's like, oh yeah, it's like I needed all of those things. And like rather than like what scrolling through Yelp, I'm like, oh no, it's like my buddy does that. And like they're it's very, I don't know, it's nice to have like you like, oh, I race with my dentist, like, and then he hooks it up, like, it's like I didn't pay for nitrous or something. It's cool, like it's fun. And so yeah, I don't know. So yeah, they tend to get like, pretty decent value out of things. But yeah, the one day stuff, it's harder. And it is like a lot of times it's a write-off. But
Yeah,
marketing's always hard to attach like an ROI. Like
totally.
my real job's like data analytics and I have like a lot of data behind this stuff. And it's still like, yeah, it's hard to determine, we're trying to find new ways to like, really put like a dollars to, what their spend is, but it's tough.
Yeah. Do you
What are you gonna
do
do?
you Do you get any, I would imagine you have such a strong brand, like merch and stuff like that. Like, do you make any significant amount of money from things like
Mm,
that?
I like do t-shirts and things like that and like stickers, but honestly, not enough for me to care. Just to be frank, like I could like maybe spend more, like because it is like the margins are good on that sort of stuff. For me, it's more like I do it for like the brand versus anything else, or like also just like I don't know. It's like I want to make cool shit, and that's like I don't really care to make money. I just would rather have like put something like cool that I like out there. And like yeah, we do like t-shirts, but I like mostly like give stuff away. Like or like it'll be like prizes. Like I'll do like hats that it looks like a trucker hat with like flames and it's like kind of garish, but I'm like, well, that's fun. But yeah, like t-shirts, I'll make my money back and then maybe a little bit, but I think in the whole year, it's not that big of a thing. Could do more. Definitely, but there's no time. So
Yeah.
that's the thing.
You've alluded to this a number of times, and I think it is interesting. Driveway is not a full time gig for you, right?
No,
Driveway
it could
is
be.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so very much like putting on and running events was a part time thing for me and my business partner, and we did
Yeah.
it sort of a side hustle, fun thing. And I think a lot of what you're saying was sort of true for us in the early stages, where we were like, we don't give a shit about making any money from this. Like, we just love putting on races, and
Yeah.
it
It's
has
fun.
totally, and it is. It's the best. Like it, but it does. Your relationship with all these things does change when
Yes.
it becomes your full time gig, which it is for me now. And now we do have to. We are. It sucks, but there's a lot more conversations around like, all right, well, this event only made X number of dollars. Should we be doing this next year? Or this event lost money? Or what
Yeah.
on our
And
merch because the
it's not
merch,
just passion anymore. Yeah.
which is
There's
uh,
God, there's a I forget the name of the comedian, but he said this. It was like, "Oh, I love doing something," or it's like, wow, God, I'm gonna butcher it. I'll find the quote, but it's like, I love doing something I used to love to do for a living. I don't know. It's like something. It's like you used to love this, now you do it for a living, and now it's like, oh, this is like a job. And I still like because I'll still race driveway, but I still have fun. But it is like, I'm like, oh, I need to trim that tree over here. Oh, this asphalt needs patched. Like I'm not just like a participant, and so even when I race like big races, I'm like, I'd change this, I'd change that. It's like very interesting. And yeah, it's like you don't want to. I'll still do events where I'm like, I don't give a shit about money. I'll lose $3,000 because I just want something cool to happen. And yeah, it's like I'll do like outside of driveway other races. I'm looking at like a poster for one of them. It's just like Red Bull gave me like $5,000 for it, and I was just like, okay, it's like I could keep some of this money for myself, or I could give it all away. And I was like, let's just do that because I was like, I don't need it. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I would rather do something that like a lot of people remember and like make it over the top than like and like have everything be free than like I don't know, try and make a buck. Like I don't know. It's just like not.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like squeeze the community I came from, for money. Yeah, I don't know. It's just me
Yeah.
though. But I do think it's important for the race, like these things to make money because yeah, if I was losing money on this or like I would not do it. And yeah, because like I'm not independently wealthy, so there's that. Yeah.
So what does your week generally look like? Like how much time are you putting in? Obviously you have a full-time job, and
Hmm.
how much time are you devoting to driveway? Like how is that sustainable?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of I would say sometimes it's not sustainable, and I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm trying to be better about like overcommitting myself to it as well. I'm like, okay, I gotta dial some things back because like, yeah, it's like, I got a real job. I got married. So I have to like there's like priorities and things. But I do have like one guy that helps me like quite a bit. And I've been like a little bit better about like delegating stuff because the thing with driveways, it's like if it was just promoting, this would be easy. It is maintaining 40 acres of track is insane. Like there was a storm. It was, I think, the highest wind Austin had ever seen, and it came through, and there was like dozens of like full size trees that got knocked down, and I have to take care of that, and it's like and mowing and like all of this stuff, and I'm like, and like repairing the asphalt. Like I paid $20,000 to have that done, and I'm like, it's like if I just could promote, this would be so much easier, but it's like I can't. And so it's like that's the stuff that like I hate, and just have to do it. Is like keep the actual thing like running, the actual track. Like I'm running a street sweeper next week because like algae's growing, and I like slid out, and I'm like, oh shit, I got to do that. But yeah, I mean, most of it with it being like just one night a week, I've spent a lot of time. This is my OCD, but like optimizing things. Like I built like over the winter like a production trailer that like I put my truck up to it, I tow it to wherever I need to be on the track because like the courses like where people hang out is different. And so a lot of it's like now I just turn on a generator and like, it's like everything turns on. And then like I just had my welder buddy like help me with like my four-wheeler so I could get all of the pieces out there. Like, and we can set up in an hour and a half and tear down in less than 45 minutes. And
Mhm.
so there's that. I'm trying to spend more time automating things like social stuff. I hate Instagram and like I hate being on it. I actually just deactivated mine because like it's such a time suck and but now I'm like automating stuff through like Facebook Business Suite and like trying to just be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and post social stuff for 6 weeks and schedule it. And so yeah, it's just like being very efficient with like my time. And again, it gets easier each year. This is I think it's the third full year I've done this. And so yeah, as time goes on, like I'm finding like more ways to kind of process improve, and then so it requires less time. But yeah, I'm hoping when it will become a city park. We haven't gotten to that, but that's like half the reason why I'm doing this is um, to hopefully have driveway like written into the city charter so it stays forever. And then they'll maintain the actual facility, and I can just focus on putting on bike races versus like
You
cutting
you
down
are
trees.
you are I mean, you're not just the race director, you are essentially the caretaker of this
Yes.
plot of land. Like that's kind of your job, which is fairly unique.
Yeah, it's definitely I don't know of anyone else who has to do this in like the race directing world. Like it's like usually, yeah, it's like the city will maintain the roads or like the parks will maintain the trails. Like I don't have that luxury, which is unfortunate. The Oracle, the company that owns it, who by the way, like great to work with, they like mow it once a month and that's about it. But it is like with the rain that we've had in Austin, it's gotten a little out of control. But yeah, it's like I still talk to the old owner. And he tells me like how to like fix certain things or like, oh yeah, it's like you need to put like outdoor bleach on this section because like the water pools there and then you're going to get like algae growing. And then yeah, there's like expansion joints in the asphalt, and I have to like, you can't have a bike wheel go in one of those, so then I have to like hire a company to go like, what is it, like tar strip them. And I'm like, yeah, it's like
Mhm.
it's a lot. The asphalt cracked in one spot because it is a floodplain, and so like you get the what do you call it, the road base kind of changes, and yeah, it was $25,000, like which
And
came out of like my pocket. Like I
right.
mean, I did like a GoFundMe and then like paid for the other portion with like race things, but like yeah, it's like I'm maintaining it because I want when the city takes over to be like, oh wow, it's like this would have been like not like this would have been we would could have just scrapped the track. Like if a million trees fell on it and then they all decayed and then like all the grass just grows up through it, it's like they would have just ripped it out. And so I don't know. That's what I'm trying to fight the good fight.
So when you have to go and fix the asphalt, are you
Yeah.
do you have to go to Oracle and say like, "Hey, we wanna do this and
Hmm.
fix the asphalt." So you have to like get permission from them and but they would never say, "All right, well we have an interest in keeping the asphalt." They basically say, "If you want to do whatever you want to do, you do it, like as long as it doesn't like impact the land value essentially."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, yeah. There's limitations around what I can do there. Like, basically, too. Like, the other thing that makes this complicated is like everything out there has to be able. I have no lease out there, which a lot of people find fun. I mean, it's like I have an agreement, but if say the city, they're still negotiating what this transfer looks like, and so I'm in the middle of like the legal stuff that's going on. But like they could say in 10 days you have to have everything gone, which is like two 40-foot Connex containers with like all of the land equipment, like everything out there has to be like moved. So I have like no permanent structures out there, and so which makes things tough. But yeah, they're very like anytime I've like needed to do something like significant, they've been as long as the people are insured, they have to go through like a process. Like if a contractor comes out, it
Right,
can't
right,
just be
sure.
like,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's like, it's unique. But yeah, there, we keep it running. Yeah, it's chill.
And what does the vision look like? The city maybe at some point down the line takes over this plot of land, turns it into a park. What's the vision for Driveway when that happens?
I mean, so my plan, I've actually reached out to like a few other cities that have like Colorado, for instance, is like really good about like outdoor recreation with bikes and things like that. And so I've got some contacts from those places to kind of talk about like vision planning, because that's essentially what will happen is when the idea is it gets transferred and there's no disruption to the races. So that's, I've like talked to city people about that, and they're like, well, yeah, as long as like I could have a separate agreement with them even before it becomes a city park. So like there's always races, like even before it's open to the public. My plan that I would love is, and this, I don't know when this will happen. Could be 2 years, could be 3 years. But yeah, like assist in that vision plan to like make sure number one, the track stays, but then also, yeah, like I would love to have a velodrome there. I would love to have, which is like, the equivalent of like a
Yeah.
track. And then asphalt pump track. I want a skate park named after myself. That is like a goal in my life. And so that would be cool. But essentially, like, yeah, try and make sure that like it doesn't turn into like a bunch of pickleball courts and like unused basketball courts. Like it's just like, no.
Yeah.
It's like this is like Austin has changed so much and a lot of it is not good. And so I'm trying to keep like one thing that's like very unique about Austin and like the cycling scene and like make sure that like stays preserved. So yeah, it's like that's ideally what it is. Also, like I want to build some dirt jumps out there. I want to build like mountain bike stuff. Like just make it like a cycling centered place. And yeah, that's like the goal.
Is there no tech billionaire base who loves bikes
I
who I mean seriously, like
oh yeah.
this is like it's a mecca in the world of like I'm not in the biking world.
Yeah.
No, I know Driveway. I know that there's this like super unique thing that like is super unique. And I do feel like there would be someone out there who would just say, hey, like, we're not
Yeah.
talking hundreds of millions of dollars. Like probably for a reasonable amount of money, you could buy that land and put
Oh yeah.
and
Well,
do some cool shit. And
I think that's the thing is like there's like the concept of like public private partnerships with
right,
stuff,
right.
and so that's what I think I would go towards. I know like some, there are some billionaires in the Rolodex and like but we're not at that point where I can like start talking about anything. Like the city needs to take over and
Yeah,
then all that stuff. Cause like it's still up in the air. And so it's like hard to get any sort of like commitments and like, yeah, we'll give you $1 billion to fix this place up when like who knows what the timeline would be. So, but yeah, that's like I mean, I want to be a part of like the fundraising side of things. Cause if I can go to the city with like, hey, you don't have to raise a bond issue. We've got this guy that's going to put like, $10 million towards the velodrome, come up with a vision plan. And it's like, that's been done in other cities. And I think it can be done here. Yeah. So that like, that's ideally what would happen. So yeah, so then I could just have like I don't want like control. I just like want to make some cool stuff that like I've seen how good stuff can be like in like Colorado. There's a park, Valmont. It has like crazy dirt jumps. They do a cyclocross race, but then they have a downhill mountain bike park, and it's run by the city. And there's like they have like a crew that maintains it. And I'm like, Driveway could have like elements of that, and it could have like a velodrome. It could have an asphalt pump track, like they have the one in like a suburb of Boston. So yeah, it's like, just hope I can put cool stuff out there. Cause yeah, that's why I want to use it. It's like, it'd be fun. Also, yeah, it's like, it'd be cool to do something for like the community that like lasts a long time. Cause that's, I don't know, it's
I think
important.
beyond that though, there's some. I mean, you could have paint some vision where there's like a lot of tourism dollars that are coming in. You create this track where like people are. It is this like cycling mecca. Nothing like this exists, and then you're
Yeah.
people like, who are coming into town every weekend for these events. And I don't know. I think there's a ton of cool stuff that could happen.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, it's definitely that. I think it's just getting on you know, Austin being such like a live music capital, it's like, how do I convince them that like, it's like they have ACL, they have like all of these huge events that are like way bigger than anything I could do. It's just like being like, hey, this is worth something. I know I'm not like a multi-billion, $1 million like music festival, but like we could do stuff out here. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely viable, and I could, I want to be involved in kind of putting that stuff all together. So yeah.
Yeah. So I told you I think one of the first times Driveway came on my radar was because we've done some stuff with the Loop, and I know that
Oh hell yeah.
the Loop was doing a run series with you guys. I'm just kind of curious how running, as someone who is in the running world, how running fits into the Driveway, and just kind of the history of like running events, sort of like molding on. We talked about the Red Hook Crit earlier, and
Hmm.
part of the reason why the Red Hook Crit I think was really cool was it had the combo of running and cycling. And just curious what role running has played and whether you think running could evolve into a larger role in the history of the Driveway.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think running is like one area of like opportunity for the Driveway. At least too, like while, I have the ability to kind of like throw events out there. But yeah, originally I was like, you with cycling, you can't run races after like there's like 10 minutes before sunset or something like that. Like unless you have lights, I can't put lights out there because it's in a flight path.
Huh.
It's like it's very interesting. But you could do like running races, and I was like, oh, there's enough time to do like a 5K, like 20 minutes in like twilight, or like people have headlamps, or they do like a mile. And I was like, it's part business opportunity of like, there's more time out here. I'm already paying for the medics and the insurance and all this other stuff. It's like there, and then it's also like I could get a whole other crowd of people, which I can say for like sponsors. It's like, yeah, it's not just like cycling. It's like if you're a nutrition brand, like Scratch is our like nutrition sponsor. It's like all their stuff is out there. The branding for all of the events is out there as well. So it's like it's still, the even if it's like a ancillary like running event that might not be necessarily sponsored by Capital Chevy, all the stuff is out there, so you still see all of that stuff. So yeah, for me it was like a other market, and it brings like, I don't know, it brings like a whole like different crowd. Like the vibe was really good. Like also like when you just finish the pro race and then there's like a running race, there's still like more to do. And I do think there's the capacity for, a larger like series, which like if anyone's interested in Austin, like run clubs, whatever, whoever wants to put together some sort of proposal, I am all ears for, yeah, like a running series. Like whether it's like we just did a sunset relay out there. And yeah, it was like hugely successful. I think we had like close to 200 people show up. And then we did like, just like I think it was like one loop was like 400 meters or something like that. And so yeah, they just did an event like that, and it was great. It was awesome. So yeah, it's just like cool. Also like, yeah, why not do something? Why not do more cool stuff? Like it's not a high school like track. You're not just like in the in like a yeah, it's like not the same thing. It's like a whole like different environment. So thought
Yeah.
it'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that style of, I mean, obviously crit racing in the running context doesn't have the same drama as a cycling race. You're not having people
Yeah.
crash and don't have that same like the drama, and the cinematography isn't as good
Oh
in,
yeah.
with the running, but there is something cool about we've tried to do a lot of this with our events where instead of like, you're doing a road mile, instead of it being like point to point, like could we make a half mile course and it's more
Yeah.
skater friendly and people can see it, and there, the idea too of like different heats so you can watch and
Yeah.
run your race and then the crowd sort of level up. And I think there's something to it. It does require though some education for the running world. I think people are so programmed to like, oh, I'm going to do a 5K on, point to point, and that's what I want, and I want this special course. And but it's a little bit harder. You're a little more like, even when we do track meets too. People are more, when you're doing this type of thing, you're more like exposed, right? It's harder to,
Yeah.
and that's not for everyone. But there's
Yeah,
that.
I mean sometimes it's like intimidating. Like I know a lot of like runners who like love to do 5Ks, and like they're always trying to go for their like best time, but like they don't want to do like a competitive one like in a heat, especially like the Driveway is, yeah, it'd be multiple laps. So yeah, it's interesting. And truthfully, I don't know enough about running to be really good at figuring all that stuff out. So like that's why I'm like, hey, if I'm here to provide like the facility and make this like the infrastructure part as easy as possible. If someone wants to just be the promoter, then come on out, help me. I always thought, dude, it's like there's so many run clubs. I'm like,
Right.
it's like if like someone wanted to set up the architecture, like the, what do you call it, like apparatus, and it's just like, a series, and then like each run club puts on like a different one. Like, if is it like a mile? Is it a relay? Is it a 5K? Is it a 10K? I don't know. I don't even know when like it's popular to run a 5K, because like cycling, it's like we'll race crits like, March through whenever. But I know like some people are like, oh no, it's like marathon training like during this time, and I'm like, I don't know that. Like, it's
Totally.
just something I
Yeah.
like uneducated on, and,
Running world
and don't
is
have. Yeah.
running world is tricky. We've yes, there's certain times where things will not work in certain times of the year. Like
Yeah, I'm like,
the fall, early spring, mid to late fall is like that's you were 100% right. That's marathon season. So it doesn't mean not every single person runs marathons, but such a huge portion of the like sub elite runners are training for their marathon.
training. Yeah.
So they are not going to jump into a random 5K on a Thursday night. In the summer, people are down to do whatever, but obviously it's
Yeah.
a billion degrees in Austin in the summer. So maybe that's, I don't know. Everything's tricky.
Yeah.
There's like
It
time and place for everything.
yeah, no, that's fine. That's part of, you gotta try things out. Like, there's certain things I've experimented with that, like, did not work, and so
Right.
and I don't know, that's, like, it's just part of it, like, especially with, like, so many, it's like, yeah, you could do the traditional, like, just bike race, but, like, because I have the opportunity to experiment with, like, does this work? With, whatever, like, the Summer Saturday series, like, that was just, like, me being like, well, it's like, hopefully this works out, and now it's, like, the highest like attended thing. And so it's like, oh yeah, people will race like a crit at 7:30 in the morning to beat the heat, and then go do, 40 miles after that. Like, it's awesome. So you just got to try stuff out. But yeah, like the relay race, I mean, we started, I think it was like 6:30, and like it was, yeah, 180 something people came out, like tons more spectators. It was great. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that cross pollination is really cool too. If you're
Hmm.
the worlds should mix more because there's so much
Yeah.
common between, but like the running world and cycling world are so segmented. And I think when people are runners and then they come out and see the cycling world, like and see a crit race before they run, like
Yeah.
gonna be they're gonna buy in. So
For sure. Yeah, and, like, a lot, I mean, it's a lot, some people do both. Like, there's a lot of cyclists that, like, I mean, even at the relay race, like, there was, like, a team of just cyclists, like, that, but they also, like, cross train. So, I think that's, like, cool. And yeah, it's like there needs to be, like, more of that, like, mix. And, like, there's a couple of promoters that do it. I'm always telling, I'm part of, like, a promoter association, and I'm like, "Yeah, do a 5K in the middle of your thing. Do a competitive, do another, like a non-competitive, like, just like it gets a volume of people out there that, like, haven't experienced it before. And yeah, also, like, yeah, it's like pretty inexpensive. So
totally. Yeah,
no,
especially if you have all the infrastructure there.
yeah, it's already there. It's like, well, yeah, it's like it would be, yeah, way more cost prohibitive if all of that wasn't set up. But for me, it's just like an add-on. It's like a bonus. So
Have runners talk to you about is the pavement uniquely like do runners comment on how it's good for running as well?
I haven't honestly heard any comments about the pavement. I know they don't like the hill on the backside of the course, so that's like, it's just this like kicker that, like, and it used to be like, I would say like 300 meters before the finish, and like, so when it was a competitive 5K, it was like kind of tough. But yeah, I've got like, people like the course. It's like wide, like it's, I don't know, it is like unique, but it is like running on the road. Like, and I know a lot of like of these like other races, like you were running on like a track, which is not like if you're used to running like, marathons on the road, right? Like, so it's
Yeah,
like if you do it, or a 5K, it's like, so it's like more closer to what you'd actually like race on versus like just going to do like a, 5K at a track or something like that.
people do. We have one race on this bike path that we do in just north of New York City, and people comment on like the pavement quality. People like
Yeah.
come because like the pavement quality is really great, and
Interesting.
it's a
Yeah.
whole yeah, it's
I would
a whole
never know.
crazy.
But I've had
I
seven,
would either,
yeah. Yeah, so I've had 7 knee surgeries. I, like, can't run, so it's like I'm pretty pretty bad at that, but, it's like I just like Hoka's because they have a lot of, like, cushion, and so I think I've jogged out there once, and it was
shout
nice.
out
So
to
yeah,
yeah.
shout out Hoka, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, this is awesome.
Mm.
My wheels are spinning. I feel like anytime I chat with anyone who is doing cool stuff, I'm like thinking of scheming of ways to do something down there with you because I think there's a ton of potential. So maybe we'll have to keep the conversation going because
Yeah.
Austin, for whatever reason, though, we've done a few small things. We did a cross country we did one of our first big track meets was in Austin during the pandemic, and but it was sort of like a pro track meet, and we got a ton of people. And then we did like a cross country meet in Austin a couple years later, and just like got like, I mean, it was fine. We got like 100 people to show up, but it was just that we sort of had the conversation that you mentioned earlier. We're like, there's a million running scenes, and we have this relationship. We know Pam and Ryan,
Yeah.
and they were involved, and it was sort of like we were like, oh, we'll get a couple hundred people, and it was like we like 2 weeks before we were like, oh, we've got like 40 people signed up for this thing, and
Yeah.
it was had to like just try and really cobble together two small fields. And so I think we've been sort of like turned off by Austin since then and haven't come back. But at some point I'd love to. I was in Austin for TRE for the running event like a year or two.
Oh, yeah.
Just an awesome city. And again, the run community is so strong there. I'm sure there's
It's
more opportunity.
crazy. Yeah, there's like, what is it, Raw Dog Run Club? I don't know if you had those guys on the internet. There's like all these run clubs, and they're just like, it's pretty wild. Like that, like evolution, I feel like really took off in Austin. And so, yeah, there's like this like just crazy amount of momentum around like just, yeah, running. So I kind of wish it would happen in cycling, but again, barrier entry, way different. So what are you going to do?
Totally. Yeah. Cool. Well, last question I sometimes like
Oh,
to
yeah.
ask people is just, you're so plugged into this world. Like, are there other where when you're like planning events or coming up with new ideas, and I know you're someone who's constantly doing that, are there other event series? Are there other places maybe in the world of cycling or outside in some other random place that you go to for inspo, or just like you've taken a lot of ideas from this event series is because they're doing cool stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's oddly enough, it's another like promoter that came out of the Red Hook era. Well, there's like two, I would say two or three. And yeah, they're all from the Red Hook era. There's Zurich Crit, which I'm registered for. It's this week in Zurich, but I couldn't make it. Just the real life took hold. But yeah, he started racing in Red Hook, and like the event, like quality of production, the live streams, these like huge, like just like television setup, and like it's insane. Like it was like one of the coolest events, like wall to wall people, great course. Like I think that like when I went there, I was like, oh, I gotta do something like this. That's like one of them. Gabe Lloyd, who's actually out your way in like Easton, Pennsylvania, or like which is like right on the border to like New Jersey. He's been doing a lot of cool stuff. And I don't know. I think it's just like, yeah, the more you put like promoters that really put themselves behind their events, like and like I don't know, you can really feel it. And so like he's inspiring. James Grady, he's doing something called Formula Fixed, which is like indoor fixed gear, like kart track races. So it's like they're on fixed gear, so it's like similar to Red Hook, but the courses are much tighter. Some are similar to maybe the first Red Hook, but he's able to sort of he does like a really good job of storytelling across the entire series, like with athletes and things like that. So I think that's something that's like, I don't know, inspires me to do more on like the social media side of stuff, which I need to get better at. But also like just his like drone live streams. Like he has like drones like swooping in and out between riders, and like it looks insane. Like I mean, it is like so intense. There's another race that's similar called Rad Race in Germany. And yeah, same level of like energy. But a lot of it is, yeah, those are just like super cool events. I'd love to do that sort of stuff. They're very expensive. Live streaming is very expensive. Tulsa Tough is like everyone in the cycling world knows that one. For the US, it's like would love to bring something like that to Austin. Actually kind of might have the potential to do it. I'm just working through the planning right now for next year. So fingers crossed. But yeah, those sort of things are like cool. At least like the stuff I want to do. I want to do like cool gravel races too. Like they don't suck. So just like a little more like exciting and like a little more like value for what you're getting. So yeah, those are the kind of things I want to do.
Awesome.
And yeah, inspire me to keep doing this shit.
Cool.
Cause it's a grind. You got to endure. You just gotta, I mean, when it rains on event day and you're just like, fuck, this sucks. So like, and yeah, it's like, cause bike races will not, it's not, not fun. At least I don't like it, but yeah.
Yeah. It's a special world. It's ride the highs, ride the lows. There's a lot of both of them, but
yeah, just got to keep going, man. That's all it is. Which is, that's endurance sports, right? It's like you got to push through pain. Like it's just there's so many times I want to just stop, like during an interval or in a breakaway at a race, and you're just like, no, I have to keep going. And like, I think, I don't know, maybe it's that like that just
Yeah.
keeps me going through like, yeah, whatever. If it's a couple hard weeks, for events, I'm just like, oh, just like keep going. It will get better. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, just keep pushing, man. It's what are you
Dude.
gonna do?
All right, dude. Well, I very much appreciate your time. This
Yeah,
was a great chat, really fun. Looking forward to chatting more in the future and continuing to follow everything you're doing down in Austin. And if you
come
are
on down.
ever find yourself in Southern California, give me a holler and show you the trails down here. Take you out on the in the
I'll be
hope.
back.
All right, man.
All right. Peace. Wait, do we